password marandu dekho small p small then
capital P,
capital P
capital G,
capital G
capital P,
capital P
57, small c,
small c
number 3,
p
capital C.
capital C.
Good morning, Ravi sir.
ଆପଣ ଡାଉନଲୋଡ୍ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି କି?
Yeah, morning. Sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
ଡାଉନଲୋଡ୍
sir,
କରିବାକୁ
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone.
Full download
Yeah. So I would request all the participants to keep yourself on mute. So first of all, good morning to everyone, and on behalf of Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, I welcome all of you in today's orientation and training session. So this training session is about the design thinking and innovation skill module, which was launched last year by Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and CBSE. So in today's session, we have eminent experts in design thinking and innovation, and the experts will be training you on different aspects of this skill module. Sir, just to brief you, for this new academic year 2023-24, we had invited nominations from schools, and so far we have received nomination of 770 teachers. From around like 300 to 400 schools. And so these teachers right now we have invited for today's training, and as we start receiving more nominations from all the schools, we will be conducting similar training sessions like in coming few weeks. So I'm very delighted to welcome Professor Ravi Poovaiah sir from IDC School of Design, IIT Bombay. It's my pleasure to introduce him, and he has been instrumental in designing this entire skill module. Under his chairmanship, the Committee on Design Thinking and Innovation Skill Module has drafted and developed this entire curriculum. The material of this skill module is already shared with all the schools and the teachers. And welcome you, sir. So sir is having experience of more than 40 years, and at IIT Bombay also back in IIT School of Design, And it's my pleasure that sir is here. We will also be joined very soon by other two experts, Dr. Hairsh sir from who is Director Birla Public School, Doha, and also Dr. Rupa Chakraborty ma'am. She is Director Education in Suncity School. So, over to sir.
Okay. Thanks, Pooja. A very warm welcome to the Design Thinking and Innovation Workshop on this nice Saturday morning. Okay, so we wish all of you the very best. We put together a very interesting program. Okay, so that's what I'm going to introduce to you. Okay, and we put in a lot of efforts to put up this program. In fact, we've spent almost around close to 2 years in putting together this program, and it's an effort by many of us. Okay, so and what I can assure you is that it actually involves three very major components of learning. One is to do with creativity and innovation, which is, I think, a very important component for our country. And if you can install this in students, nothing like it. Design thinking also involves critical thinking, which is one of the 21st century skills that we need to get the children to learn. In addition to that, good design problem solving also involves very good communication skills. Okay, so all these are 21st century skills, and we hope all of you will be able to do it. In case you have any difficulty, we are here to support you. The innovation cell is also there to support you, and we can have sessions like this. So what I'll do is that I'll share the screen and take you through what we have actually uh, been doing. Okay, so just want to, Pooja, does it move? Does it move? It has moved to the next screen. Yeah.
Screen is
Okay.
visible, sir.
Okay, so it started quite long time back, 2010. We actually submitted a report on design and innovation in school to the ministry, and we were very keen that that gets implemented. But I think the NEP 2020 coming in actually accelerated this process. So because they identified these as one of the 21st century skills, and a committee was set up to bring out the curriculum. And the first stage is that we are actually introducing this in CBSE schools. We are also hoping that the other schools and the state boards will also take it up. Okay, so this is roughly how it looks. Okay, so if you look at this, uh,
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you have to remove this pop-up message on your screen. Actually, we cannot see
you're
your.
right. Yeah, I'll just take it off.
Yeah.
Hide window. Okay. Yeah, it's gone, right?
No, sir. One pop-up message is there. Now it's fine, sir.
Now
It's
it's fine, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. It's so if you look at the screen here, in the center is the design thinking and innovation module. And the way the module is going to be, learned by students is by doing tasks. Okay, and you'll have exposure sessions for which we are providing you with PowerPoint slides, which you can change. And it's by showing examples the students would learn this. And in the process, they learn certain tools to enable design thinking. And they also learn the design thinking process, which can be applied to anything, whether it's science, physics, history, or even law or medicine. The same knowledge could be applied. The way the content is created, which is on the left side, is that the experts are contributing towards this content, and we've been constantly having feedback from the teachers, and the teachers have been working with the students to get us that, additional feedback. And on the right side, we have created a teacher's manual. This is like a guidebook on how you can actually administer these tasks. And of course, you're going to be teaching this subject for the first time. So we need to have training sessions, and the teachers who have gone through the training sessions, we are hoping that you'll actually teach the other students, other teachers. And if you look at the bottom side, okay, the main crux of the program is in task books, which are going to reside online. If you want, you can print those books, but otherwise they're available as PDFs. We'll also make the Word file accessible to you, because you can add your, notations or changes on it. Okay, and of course, you can either look at it on the tablet or mobile or the desktop. And one very nice thing about design thinking and innovation is that there is something very tangible and physical, visual about it. Okay, so there's a design task board, which you can actually have exhibitions at the end of the month or end of the year. The students can actually put up an exhibition of all the work they've done, and also additionally it becomes part of their portfolios. Now, Innovation Cell also has put up a web space where the good works of the students you can upload, so that becomes a repository of knowledge in some sense. Okay. Yeah, so this is how the design thinking process is getting integrated into the curriculum. Okay, so you have the design thinking process on the left side. Okay, and it's included into the task that one does. And we'll give you this introduction and FAQs, the exposure slides, the task book, which has the assessment matrix and how you can get feedback. We'll also give you the teacher's manual. All these are there for 6th, 7th, 8th on the web space. Soon the higher section modules will also come in, and these result in the modules which you need to do. So the design thinking process itself, we've debated a lot and slightly tweaked it so that it is very friendly to the children. The first phase, we've called it as observation, which includes empathy, need finding, research, and study. Okay, and the second stage is analyzing this, understanding what the problem is. Okay, so you need to synthesize, you have to understand what exactly is the problem. And the third stage is the ideation or creative stage, where you can think of alternatives. So this is also the stage where you explore, maybe experiment, create alternatives. Okay, and then you come to, once you have an idea, then you have to build it. So you make a prototype, which could be just out of paper or cardboard, give it a form and shape. And then you get feedback from your teacher or your colleagues. So this is roughly the design thinking process, and it's integrated into the program. Also, there's a little bit of difference in the way design thinking and innovation is learned. It's very experiential. So, I mean, you have to get your hands a bit dirty. So you have to do it and learn. And also, it's a very playful, joyful experience. So the students will be very involved in this, you know, and all of them will have fun in solving this problem. They also get involved in it. Also, you can actually have children work together, collaborate, cooperate, and solve problems, which is how it is done in the industry, which is, I think, something the schools need to also start off with. So what we say is that you have to turn the classroom into something like a studio, where you can little bit dirty up, where students can sit together instead of single students sitting in one chair and desk. Okay, so, and the way it is learned is that we really don't have textbooks. What we have is task books. And a lot of problems are contextual problems, means that you actually take problems from your own surroundings, and that becomes something that needs to be solved. And of course, it's a very creative, exploratory exercise. And also what we've suggested is that instead of the 40-minute period, if you can join 3 of those periods into a 2-hour module, it becomes substantial, because by the time you get into a problem, 40 minutes is over. So combining them into a 2-hour session will be highly beneficial. So when you do your schedule, you need to take this into account. This is how we have thought of the curriculum. lesson plans, overview or the vision, why you want to do it, what are the competencies the students will learn, learning aims, objectives, and matching it with sustainability development goals, which resulted into modules and sub-modules, which are also backed by exposures, tasks, and also references, further references. We've also defined the assessment criteria along with feedback. And also you can refer to the teacher's manual, and the output can become exhibits, portfolios, and it is validated. And also the good work can become online documentation, and also, students and as well as the faculty can suggest.
हाँ ये चल रहा है
चल तो रहा है ये अलग अलग
Okay,
क्लास
then if you can put off your sound, that will be really nice. There's something wrong here. I've got stuck. Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir. I request everyone to please keep your mic on mute.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm sharing it again. There's something which came in, so I couldn't. Okay, I think I'm back into this. Yeah. So if you look at, our background to it, okay, we want you to celebrate starting from India and then go international. So that means starting with local problems, you go towards the global problems. Even students start from learning about problems connected with their self, then family, society, public, community, and humanity itself. So from near to far, that's very important. We also need to the students to be sensitive about other life on Earth, because the last 300 years or more have been very human-centered. We need to respect other life on Earth. Also, we've made the world very unsustainable. So principles of sustainability have to be included in the design thinking and innovation program. And of course, they learn the design process here from starting from observations to building and experiencing and reflecting it. Also, what happens is that design thinking and innovation will also have students get interested in the creative industries, which if they want to, they can pursue later on in their career. And also, we have given importance to Indian knowledge systems, the crafts. Okay, so this is something we've been doing. So if you look at an overview, it is from class 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Classes 6, 7th, 8th is an exposure course, okay, which involves just around 18 hours of exposure. But from 9th onwards, it has 160 hours every year. Okay, and we've kept the overall vision as exploring, sensories, being cognitive and social abilities, awareness, discover, reflection, should be able to nurture curiosity and exploratory capabilities, foster creativity and innovation. They should be able to locate problems and be able to solve it, and apply design thinking process and innovation methods. And also in the process, they'll also learn some fundamentals of design. So in terms of competencies, these are all 21st century skills, observation skills, communication skills, sensitivity towards design, critical thinking, okay, being able to explore options, solve problems, build prototypes. We've also matched it with sustainability development goals. So this is the overall. So if you look at starting from 6 to 12, it increases in complexity. First one is very simple exposure and discovery, then skills and sensitivity, then you get into problem solving, then you look at options and you try to solve problems together. And the last 12 standard is applying what they have learned really. So if you look at this is an overview of the 6th, 7th, 8th, curriculum. Okay, so if you see here, 3 hours is explore design fundamentals, and they actually, look at basic elements of design and try to create a story out of it. Okay, and they enact the story in the class itself. The second exercise is a very simple transition exercise, A to Z or cat to dog. Okay, you also learn a bit of photography. You take photographs and play it together. It actually animates from one to another. Third one is an exercise from physics, the light and shadow. So they actually create sundials, okay, which is portable sundials, which they can carry with them, things like that. They also learn to ideate and sketch and things like that. And the last three are application of the design thinking process. So they take something like problems inside the school, or it could be just outside the school in seventh standard, or it could be the nearby market or a public place in the eighth standard. So this is how it's all very simple, very involving. Okay, so when it comes to ninth, it's a little more detailed. Importance of documentation, which is the initial phase of observation and understanding. Introduction of fundamentals of 2D design. Then the design process connected with observation and trying to solve a problem. That is the third and fourth modules. And then almost in the next semester, you look at sketching as a tool for ideation. Instead of 2D design, you get into 3D design and you apply problem solving in the last two modules. In the 10th standard, they get into fundamentals of animation and also fundamentals of story creation. They have to be very creative and be able to tell stories. Okay, introduction to creativity, and they do a creative problem solving. Then we have introduction and fundamentals of communication, sustainability, and making prototypes, and they actually do a project at the end of it. Okay, so this is roughly, and details are there in the task books. And in the 11th standard, they get into areas of design. They get into publication design. So, for example, the task could be to design the annual magazine. They get into making a short movie, a video. They also get into information design. Okay, and they have a communication design problem solving at the end of it. Next semester, get into product design, digital design, game and toy design, and then again they have a product design project at the end of it. 12th standard is mainly about doing projects, small and big. So, for example, they do a project connected with personal design. It could be clothes, accessories, watches, mobiles, which you carry with you. Next is social design, looking at communities and how you can solve problems. Environmental design. We also have an introduction to the Indian knowledge systems. And then the last part of it is they spend time solving one major problem. So this is a rough, quick overview of the curriculum. We also, if you just look at the problems itself, 6th, 7th, 8th, they look at problems around the school. Request people to please put their mics off. Yeah, thanks. In the 9th standard, they look at waste generated in the school and redesign of Pooja, I think you can off them,
Yeah, I'll try doing it
Yeah.
from here. I request everyone to please keep yourself on mute. I'm unable to identify Priyanka Sharma. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
We can exit them, Pooja. Pooja, we can exit them. Again, they can join, they can understand. If you are not able to mute. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry,
thanks
Professor,
everybody. Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Sorry, Professor. All the participants, we kindly request you to be in a mute mode so that we can carry the session without any disturbance. Thank you.
Yeah, in the 10th standard, if you look at it, the problems go into designing, issues with respect to public concerns. We also take up a problem with sustainability and environmental issues because they're a little more complex. And if you look at 11th standard, they have to learn how to do a startup firm, okay, and communication design and product design. And in the 12th standard, as I mentioned, personal space, social space, public space, and capstone semester-long projects. Okay, so this gives you this. Our colleague here, Hairsh Sanduja, is going to explain this in detail, but roughly saying, we've always changed the grades into very encouraging grades. So the lowest grade one gets is actually beginning, then developing, then promising, proficient, excellent, outstanding. So you don't really fail students. They are encouraged in all this. Also, there is a assessment matrix which is given to the teachers so that they can follow this matrix to award the grades depending on how many criteria the solution or the task has fulfilled. Okay, so yeah, so it doesn't have textbooks. I'm just going to go through this. If you can combine periods into 2-hour sessions, that will be great. We have a 2:1 ratio between hours in the school to time at home. Uh, Everything is based on learning objectives, outcomes, and evaluation is a little different. Do you need access to technology? No. Right now, it is kind of figured out that you don't really need computers to solve any of these problems, but they are a help if you have them, but it's not a must. Okay, so yeah, so tasks are very interesting and exciting and contextual. That means the students get immersed in this. We'll also try to set new tasks every year, and there's no final exam right now. Okay, so this is something we need to look at it. Okay, and yeah, how to make curriculum suited for disinterested teachers. I'm sure all of you are interested in this subject, so that's something we are looking forward to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And later on, the coaching classes will come.
To come from just literacy to the education point.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks. So we have, this is how the task books look, the introduction book, the class 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, so they are uploaded on the web space, so you can have a look at it. Yeah, so of course you can help by being part of the review team. You can give us feedbacks. You can also suggest new tasks to be done. Yeah, and of course you're going to be doing these tasks and giving us feedback. And one more very important thing is that the parents need to be convinced. Okay, so I'm sure you're going to take up that task, and this is our a team which has done it, our panel members here, some of them are here, you know. So that's roughly the team that has been involved in doing this program. So I'm going to stop here. Uh, Thanks a lot. Okay, over to you, Pooja.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, can we take some questions now, or we'll do it at the end?
I think at the end is better. Let's finish off,
Okay, so thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful introduction. And now we will go to, I think Hairsh sir is still not here.
Alisa will join at 11.
Okay, so Rupa
So then,
Rupa is here.
Yes.
okay.
No.
Yeah.
Pooja, professor is saying something. So we can continue for another part.
So if you have some more time, what I'll
Yes,
do
sir.
is I'll
Yes.
just show them one of the exposure slides,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I do that? Yeah, that might be
Yes,
good,
sir. Sir, Alisha will be joining at 11 only, sir. So
Okay.
you can brief them a little bit in depth about that the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah, I can
courses,
do it.
the
Yeah.
syllabus what we have read. You can just give some more time on that.
So this is, this is the slides, for example, for the first module, which says what is design, elements of design. Okay, so you can ask the question to the students, an interactive slide asking them. Just 1 minute. Yeah, so then you ask this question, is this design? That's a folk art. This is a piece of furniture which can be staked. This is a kettle which whistles when the water is boiling. That's the logo of a bank. That's Olympic symbol. This is a signage over there, an advertisement for Amul, Lota, Tabla. So if you look at it, all of them involve design. They have to be thought of, they serve a certain purpose, and people have used materials appropriately, okay, or communication methods. So this is how it is. Okay, so if you look at design itself, right, it uses all these aspects. It involves people, it involves, shapes and functions. Yeah, it involves, some of them are very creative and you have to be innovative. And if you look at it, they also involve a method and process. Okay, so we can give examples of this. Design is how we eat our food. For example, if you want full idlis, yeah, you need a vessel which can make it. But if you want to have small idlis, you need a vessel designed to make these small idlis. So is the case with if you need extra space, that's the regular bed. You can either think of a bed under the bed or you can think of a bed over the bed, right? So this is how we apply design. What are the elements of design? They're very simple, starting from dot to line to basic shapes to forms to texture and color, right? And for example, a dot doesn't have dimensions. Random dots can create confusion. Okay. Dot at the right place is beautiful, but at the wrong place, makes the person look so different. You can also see dots at many places, right? Like, for example, stars are nothing but dots. Uh, if you move a dot, you get a line. Okay, so it can be straight, bent, curved, irregular, hand-drawn. Okay, and there are many types of dots. A curved line, a straight line, which becomes active. Parallel lines become orderly. Surface lines shows transition, and if, for example, crisscrossing lines can lead to confusion. So you can look at examples. A simple line can change the expression on one's face. Okay, so if you have vertical curtains, they make the place look taller, right? And if you want order, we all stand in a line. A zigzag line, for example, can actually, suggest fun or adventure, right? So lines have expressions. So is the case with shapes. Yeah, so if you look at shapes, there are many types of shapes. Okay, circle, square, triangle, rectangle. Uh, in 2 dimension and in 3 dimension, they become spherical, cuboid, cylinder, and a cone. Yeah, and shapes are also can be used to represent objects or, for example, logos or motifs. And again, it can change from organic to geometric, realistic to abstract, complex to simple, dynamic to stable, random to structured. Yeah, and if you look at color, color is reflected light. Yeah, the world is full of colors, and we know that if you mix up primary colors, you get secondary colors. Yeah, and they also constituted, we learn from the nature. So some are warm colors and some are cold colors, right? And textures again, textures also have meaning. Some are smooth, some are granular, some are glossy, and yeah, they can also denote expressions into it. Okay, so this is a rough, very simple introduction to elements of design. We are giving you the mm, 1 second, just just a minute. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to run through. Yeah, so this is how the, task book for class 6 looks like. Oh, it has the chapters here. It has also a map of how the sections are. For example, task 1 is make a puppet using basic elements of design, and then create a character out of your imagination, draw the world in your palms. So it's to do with elements of design and story creation. Next one is form transitions and forms in nature. Okay, so as I said, no, A to B, you can identify forms in nature. Third module is idea sketching and product explorations. Sketch different types of sundials and design a portable sundial, and then design thinking process and environmental. So identify problems in your school neighborhood and then make a presentation out of it. So we've also kept a section on what is design, who is a designer, what is design thinking, who is a design thinker, what is the design thinking process. So these are all introduction to it. Then also, because the innovation term comes, what is this? We've also mentioned what are the overall vision and aims of this particular program. So you can see what I said before, sensory, cognitive, social abilities, being able to observe, discover, experience, collaborate and reflection, curiosity and explorations, creativity and innovation, being able to identify problems and apply design thinking, and also fundamentals of the creative design disciplines. Okay, so this is the overview of this. We've also set the vision and the learning objectives, additional competencies one would learn, matching it with the SDG goals. This is how the grading is done and the assessment and the validation feedback. We have the forms here. We've also mentioned all the references and encouraged to do exhibitions and presentation. This is how the first chapter is, introduction to it. At a glance, we've kept the content of the chapter. Then introduction to elements. What is the introduction? What is the aim of the module? Okay. And then where do we do it? Okay, what is the grouping of the students? What are the equipments that one needs? Okay, what are the exposures you can give in this particular module? Then the sequence of the module, and what part of the design thinking process is involved, mapping it with the SDG goals. Okay, then it shows how do you take a sheet of paper, cut it into pieces, and make your puppet characters out of it, form teams and do it. So the process is defined. This is the second, imaginary character world in your palm. That's the second exercise, but it's done at home. Then, we have questions. We also have an assessment which the students can do. They self-assess here. Okay, and we've also kept references, which we're also making a film for this, which we'll upload it. Okay, the second one is exploring form transitions. Similarly, overview of the chapter, then introduction to the chapter. You can see that we have caterpillar to butterfly. That's a transformation. What is the aim of it? Again, place, grouping, equipment, exposures, task sequences, design thinking process, mapping it with the SDG goals, then defining the task here. Then how do you do it? Okay. Then discovering this the task, second task, discovering forms in the environment, then reflection, self-assessment, going on to the module 3, which is doing with sketching for ideas and exploring product ideas. Okay, so this is the portable sundial, sundial. So again, introduction, what is the aim, place, grouping, equipment, exposures also given here. Okay, and the task sequence matching with the design process and, SDG goals. Then, yeah, starting with sketching, then designing a portable sundial that you can carry or wear on you. Okay, convert your final concept sketch into a drawing. Then reflection, self-assessment, references, and this is the last task, introduction to design thinking process and environmental design project where they look at problems around their school itself. So again, it has the introduction, aim, place, grouping, equipment, exposures, task sequence, okay, involvement, and then it defines the problem. It also shows, for example, we've asked, make them a list of what are the positive things you found in the school, what are the negative things that you done, and then suggest important. We also say that document by taking photographs or illustrations of your observations. Note down your observations in your sketchbook. We encourage them to have a sketchbook for the design thinking course. Yeah, so we're giving them guidance on this. Then go to the next stage of making ideation, creative outputs, and how to shortlist these ideas. Then make small mock-ups or create scenarios, and then make a presentation out of that. Okay, so and there are some guidelines on how to make presentations. Okay, and there's reflection, self-assessment, yeah, other references for this, right? So here's the assessment criteria, which teachers can use to grade the students. So if you look at it, it's based on beginning, developing, promising, proficient, and excellent. For example, puppet design and construction. So it goes through these stages. If the student satisfies many of the criteria, he gets excellent. Otherwise, he gets a beginning grade. Similarly, for the next one, this is form transition and discovery forms in the environment. Third module, sketching and product ideation. Yeah, this is the fourth one. Yeah, to do with environmental design problem. And then we have a student feedback form as well as a teacher feedback. And then also we've got a couple of pages for sketching and then the credits. Yeah. So that's how, so this is again a brief introduction into the class 6, task book. Yeah, 1043. Yeah, Rupa is also here.
Yeah. So ma'am will be taking the next one. Yes. So
Okay,
thank
over
you.
to you, Rupa. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So now I invite Dr. Rupa Chakraborty, ma'am. She is Director, Suncity Schools, Gurgaon. And ma'am is skilled in secondary education, education technology, differentiated instruction and curriculum development, besides setting up schools in the country. So as a member of this design thinking and innovation skill module, she also has been instrumental in designing the entire curriculum. So welcome, ma'am, to the session. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. It's good to be connecting with you, and especially, of course, the erudite Dr. Ravi Poovaiah, who is from IIT Mumbai. I always feel very honored in his presence, and he is also the chair. Thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Alan Govan, and of course, the Ministry of Education. So we are going to start off with something that you need to do first. I want to see on the chat box, what do you comprehend, understand from the design thinking phrase? What do you understand? What are we doing here? What's design thinking? And I'll quickly read answers as it comes to me on the screen. To ideate, okay, fantastic. We didn't, okay, innovation, right? Insight, okay. Critical thinking, develop creativity, creativity, need-based solutions, okay, to solve problems. Creation, mostly process, journey, it's going too fast, extraordinary. Ideation, of course. Inferences, all right. Critical thinking, collaboration, algorithm, okay, algorithm, I'm glad to see coming up here. So I think intellectual ideation, I like that, intellectual ideation. Thinking out of the box, definitely. Solutions, yes. Empathize, okay. Innovative solutions. Building curiosity, thank you. Somebody is thinking like me. Okay, right. So it is a flexible and adaptable process. Somebody wrote collaboration and thinking out of the box. Yes, thank you. Right, so we have quite a few answers, and most of the answers are absolutely bang on. It is, somebody just wrote, bring out the best solutions. You know, when you do management, and I did a course in quality management, and something they said stayed in my mind, that if you do not have a solution, you are the problem. And that is what design thinking is bringing forth to you. It is true that challenges make life interesting, and overcoming them makes life, how should I put it, makes life meaningful. So what we need to do is learn how to face challenges and teach our children how to face these challenges, for which we have various ways that we've talked about. And just now, Professor Poovaiah spoke to you about how we've put this in. First thing you must see, how many of you felt that the exposure was something you were doing for the first time? Let me see yeas and nays. How many of you say, yes, this is the first time I heard something, you know, like an exposure? We hadn't, of course, those who have done design thinking may, and in college or university may have heard about it, but how many of you are hearing it for the first time? Yes. Couldn't understand, no way. Yes, this is the first time you're hearing. Okay, many are saying yes. Heard it before. Nice, Susan. Okay, no. Okay, yes, mostly yes. First time, right. Heard it before, okay. Right, so I find Gurleen has also written heard it before. So I understand from what you're saying, almost 30% or maybe 40% have heard about it before, but 60 to 70% have not heard about it before. So what we need to understand, the first thing is we've made the books in a very different way. So if I'm talking about the teacher's manual, first, what all you have said, I penned down as you were writing it. You began with, it's a solution that we find for a problem, right? Then some have written the critical thinking which comes with solution finding, the algorithm that forms, and empathizing, and also being innovative, which is very true. That's what design thinking is about, right? It is innovative solutions to problem. Thank you, Mr. K or Ms. K Mukherjee. That is the solution that we are finding with an empathetic look towards a problem. Not because the problem is there, but because we feel for the problem, right? So now I would request either Dr. Pooja or Dr. Ellen Govan to kind of put up the manual so that we can discuss it. So we know what is design thinking. Teacher's manual, somebody's written, we don't have teacher's manual. It is there on CBSC portal. Please go there and you will find that it is over there, the teacher's manual. Am I right, Dr. Ellen Govan? And it's on the Ministry of Education also.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. You are right, ma'am. You are right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So please go there and you will find the teacher's manual. Now I'm going to tell you how we have made this teacher's manual, trying to help you find solutions for problems, critical and creative thinking, which is one of the 21st century skills that we are talking about with communication in mind. So we have done all this and made sure that, can you share the link for teachers? Yes, of course we can share the link. I'm sure when this is over, either Dr. Ellen Govan or Dr. Pooja will share the link with you. So now we are going to have a look at the teacher's manual. So we began the teacher's manual with the thought that we will be doing it for teachers, but not only for teachers, with teachers. So you will find in the manual, there are many places, and I'm going to show you just now. Are we putting it up, Dr. Pooja?
Just right now, I'm trying finding it, ma'am. It's not available right now on my this device that I'm using, but I'm trying fetching it. Yeah, it's available on our website. I'll share it from there.
Yes. So what we need to remember is we have begun this book with the different, or this manual rather, with different ways of teaching learning. Thank you, Balaji. That is so very kind of you to share the link. So we have begun with different kinds of learning procedures and a repertoire of learning that can happen for teachers. So how many of you are aware of Kolb cycle? How many of you are aware of Shushruth, one of the chief surgeons of India? In fact, he was the first surgeon of India. So when you look at things like this in the book, it gives you a background with Indian knowledge system also as a focus to understand what is it that showcasing to you what are the various forms of learning that you need to understand. How many of you know Kolb cycle? Yeah, how many of you are aware of Kolb cycle? Yes, you are. Okay. How many of you are aware of Honey and Mumford's? Okay, all right.
Rupa, do you want
How
me to
many
share
of you are aware of, this is something I actually shouldn't ask, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes, sir, you can share it, sir.
I can share it, right? Okay.
Oh, okay. You are going to share it. How many of you are aware
tell
of this?
me when
Okay,
to
you
move
are.
it.
I can see Miss or Mr. Mukherjee aware of it. Now we are going to just show you. Yes, thank you so much. So we are beginning with the Gurukul system that has come into being. In that we talk about Shushruth. And Shushruth is one of the first surgeons who came along. And then we are talking also about, can you see how we've made it in a very, very attractive way so that you would like the layout of this book. Next, please. Right. And you can see some of the key Western philosophers whom we should be aware of. These are the thinkers, the philosophers, and the various theories of learning that we should focus on. So we have Nietzsche, who is one of the very important, we have Seneca, we have Socrates. Seneca is another very famous person, Greco-Roman. Then we have Socrates, whom you all know about. Of course, there is the SAP thing, which Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. And then the Germanic philosophy coming through Nietzsche or Friedrich Nietzsche. You can't see Fatima? Okay. Maybe there is some connectivity problem. I hope the others can see. So then we move on to theories of learning. Next, please. So these are the various theories of learning. You can see, even if you're not aware of it, we've put it down over here for quick reference. And those who are aware will just be able to have a look at it and be able to recall certain things. So we've put in behavioral theory, cognitive theory, conditioning, humanist, and the discovery sensory theory, where you all know that sensorial learning comes from Maria Montessori. So we've put in that for you. And there are the other theories that we've put in so that you get a very good understanding of the knowledge, of the learning perspective, and the teaching perspective. Sir, can we go to the next one, please? Right. And then we have multiple intelligences, the Bloom's taxonomy, and Kolb's cycle. So these have formed a complete cohort of learning. Next one, please. Yes. So you can now see the Bloom's taxonomy, which actually has come into the second edition, which has been given that second edition by his own pupils. So in which we now have creating or creativity as one of the major or the pinnacle of that pyramid. So Benjamin Bloom, he developed it in 1956, but we have now changed the uppermost, which was earlier supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, synthesis, has now become creativity. Next, please. And you can also see how the Kolb's learning cycle happens. This is how children learn. It is imperative that we know how children learn before we teach. We start on the teaching learning process. So this is how children learn. They get concrete experiences and then they go into a reflective or observatory situation. And the reflectors, children who are reflectors will reflect more. And then we come to abstract conceptualization. These are children who are theorists, who will think about it. Then those who are pragmatic in their approach to learning, they will do active experimentation. Like I would call myself a very active experimentation kind of person. And also the next one is activist. That's the hands-on kind of people who learn by doing, and that gives them the concrete experience. Of course, some people like to have all the experiences to ensure that the learning is complete. So I think that's how we learn. Now we've given you a good preview of the learning theories, and now we move on to how this book is written, and I'll show you one quick thing. Of course, this is Honey and Mumford that I was talking about. You can have a look. And the VAC, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. In our school, in Suncity school, we call it ASK, application, skill, and knowledge. We believe that if you can raise the child's curiosity or ignite the child's curiosity, you will have a child learn. But if you cannot ignite the curiosity, the child will rote learn. And if a child is curious, the child will ask. And that is application, skill, and knowledge. Or in other words, according to VAC, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. You have to put them all together for you to complete the learning of any child. Next, please. Thank you, sir. And then we also have put SDGs, the 17 SDGs. I hope you are aware of this, beginning with no hunger, and also the various other sustainable goals that have been given to us by United Nations, right? In which the fourth one is quality education. We've added all this also to make it integrated learning rather than just once specific way of learning through a tunnel, you know. So we've given it multi-dimensional learning modality. Next, please, sir. Right. So you can see what is actually the process that we have taken. So there are different ways of doing design thinking. So it began somewhere, then it evolved. So you will find that for design thinking, you have to begin with observation. And after you have observed, so I would request all of you to look around the room you're sitting in and observe and try and see, is there a problem that you can find in this room that you are sitting in? If you can, try to understand why that problem is there. Okay, so feel for that problem. Like I'm sitting in this room, if I can see a light flickering, so I observe that and I understand that there's a problem, that somebody has not been doing their work properly, or the person has not been observant enough to see that the light is flickering in my room. So that understanding has to come. Somebody was not empathetic enough, did not use their empathy to think, okay, Mrs. Chakraborty may have problems in her office if the light flickers. And then
there is ideation. So we move on to the third one, that we ideate. Now, when that person thinks, okay, this is happening, but I am not the right person. Let's say the administrator sees it. And then, of course, he will ideate and he will try to build or do something about it. And then after doing it, he will conclude by reflecting on what he has done. So this is the process of design thinking. I gave you a small example. So all of you can look around the place or office, wherever, or home, wherever you're sitting, and follow this. Observe, understand why it's happening, ideate. When you ideate, you try to bring about change through a process, and then you build on it or you do something about it, and then you reflect. Next, please. So now we come to the lesson plans. Right. So you can see that we've given the objectives, the general learning objectives and additional competencies which have come. Next, please, sir. And this is how the whole glossary goes. There's a glossary which is there, which you can refer to. Next, please. And this is a flow chart which is very helpful to give you an overview into the design thinking curriculum. It's very succinct, extremely concise and precise, which was made by Mr. Hairsh Sanduja. He's not here right now. So it will give you a very good overview or preview of the whole curriculum. Next, please. Professor Poovaiah, if you wish to add anything, please feel free to add.
Go ahead. No issues.
Thank you. Now we come to what is design, which he talked about. Professor Poovaiah talked about it in his presentation. What is designer? Who is a designer, etc. So you can see how we have done this. Sir, if you could go to the previous one, I just want to show you that you will find an empty space in our whole formatting of lesson plan, which is in the teacher's manual. That is because when you are given a manual, it is taken for granted that the teacher knows nothing, and that is why they only tell you to do things. But that is not the situation here. The situation here is very different. We believe each one of us as teachers know something more than what is told to us. And that is why we've left these spaces for you to add. Now here is, because this is an integrated subject or cross-curricular learning, you find this little circle empty. We believe you can add English, art and craft and environmental sciences, but maybe you have a good idea. You can add a fourth subject or maybe even a fifth subject, right? So please do this. You will then find which are the multiple intelligences we have used in this story creation for communication. So this is the first chapter, and it is divided into the elements that create a design and story creation that communicates. Thank you, sir. We'll go to the next one. And then you see the mind map only for this particular concept. So you see main thing that is in yellow, what is design? And then we have put elements of design and stories. These are the pedantic part of it, more of the knowledge part. Then you have designing stories, designing puppets, and the home task. Let me tell all of you, it is 18 hours of teaching, of which 12 hours are to be taught in school and 6 hours is home task. And the one you see in that blue color is actually the pragmatic part of it, is the learning while doing part. And the green part is the pedantic part or the knowledge part. Yes. So that's the mind map. You'll find it color coded. You will know, okay, you have to do 2 concepts over here, and then you have to do 3 activities over here, including a home task. Right. Next, please. And then you see the various ways we have tried to give you. The exposure is also added over here. In day 1, what you have to do, you will see all the objectives, etc., that have been put over here. And this is a sample outline, but you will also find in the learning outcome, you as a teacher, we as teachers, I'm also a teacher. So we as teachers have to also fill it in, you know, and this makes you think. Most of the times the teachers don't have scope for thinking, but this book has been made in such a way that there is scope for thinking. Next, please. Right. So you can see the flow, that how the concept initiation, the concept elucidation, that means the concept, how to build up the concept. Concept initiation is how to create the curiosity. Remember, we talked about curiosity. So you will find that there is concept initiation, how to create that concept interest by raising curiosity. Then you have concept elucidation, is how to explain the topic, the concept over there. And then you have a closure of the concept. And Shri, who became the first surgeon of our country many years back, in the Middle Ages, actually used nature to make his tools, as you can see over here. So these are things, how they will design various things, keeping in mind how Sushruth looked around in nature. I'm sure you have heard of the word biomimicry, and you could look at this biomimicry to enhance the children's innovative, critical thinking, creative thinking, right? So please do that and use nature to teach the children. Use nature a lot to teach the children. Next, please. Sir, please tell me when my time is running out, because I'm going a little detailed. So if you tell me, I will kind of make it little brief.
Pooja is keeping
Hairsh had joined, ma'am. Hairsh had joined, ma'am. Whenever you're as a schedule, when you complete, Hairsh will continue.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Rupa, I think you finish. Yeah, you finish, and then after yours, Hairsh will take, you know.
Okay. Hairsh sir is here.
I think yeah.
Yes. So now we come quickly to the second part of this very concept. This is module 1, and you will see storytelling has come in over here. So we show this picture. So this picture depiction is there, and based on this picture depiction or a situation depiction or a classroom or anything, you show them and you tell them to build up a story. So you can do it with anything. You can also show them a video. So that's how the learning happens. So that is one module that I showed you and how it has to be taught. Now you can see the specific learning outcomes again over here. And the same thing will carry on. You will also show them the exposures, and which exposure you have to show is also mentioned over here. And next one, sir. All right. So we are kind of coming to an end of this whole module, so that you are able to see how one module looks. This will be very, very helpful for you. And I would like to kind of end up over here by saying something, that vision is the ability to see the invisible. Whenever you see a problem, envision what can be the solution and start working backwards. And you can also see the grid, how the criteria grid to mark the children has been given over here, and it will be very, very helpful for you to ensure that the learning continuity is there, because it also helps you to do formative, assessment. It helps you to do formative assessment. So thank you very much for listening to me patiently, and I hope that this manual will be of great help to you. Thank you once again for this opportunity to the Ministry of Education.
Thank you, ma'am, much for explaining in detail about the teacher manual. We have with us Shri Hairsh sir. He is academic director public schools, though, and he has 25 years of experience as an member of the National Committee on the module.
Thank
Sorry,
you, Pooja
am I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, Pooja ma'am, you were audible. I hope I am audible.
Over to you.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am. It was,
Yeah, welcome.
and thank you, Rupa ma'am. And good morning to everyone there. There is a slight time difference between me and you. It's almost around 8:30 in the morning here. And it's quite an interesting thing to see that so many people have joined in and all of them are wanting to know more about design thinking. So I already know that you have been given a good brief about everything about design thinking. And my objective is generally to tell you the assessment, how the assessment is critical. So let me just quickly launch myself onto the assessment part of design thinking. So I'm going to share a small slide show with you so that you are able to get my viewpoint. Just a minute. Okay. Are you able to see a slideshow? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great. Thank you. I'm just going to put it on a full screen mode. So what basically happens is the assessment in design thinking and innovation is one of the important things about how we are going to go ahead and do things. So innovation can be anywhere, and we already have seen that people during pandemic had made seriously large innovations. You could see a teacher trying to teach on the blackboard using a mobile phone hanging with the help of some gadgetry that they had done. People always kind of try to come up with some or the other solutions whenever they are in trouble. And these solutions always are very interesting. But the benefit of these solutions is either in the form of time or money or ease of work. So the idea, as we all know, is that the children should be taught the process of how to solve a problem and how to look at a problem with an idea that, yes, we need to resolve it, and what are the various methodologies of solving it. So the process is that we need to teach the children the process of thinking, of problem solving, and critically analyzing everything. So I see design thinking and innovation as a 21st century skill subject which teaches which other subjects may not be able to teach. So it is the one which is teaching children how to observe around themselves and finally come to a conclusion that if there is a problem, then how to solve that problem. Now, if you are going to do that in schools, the most interesting thing happens is that how do we judge children? It is easy to judge a child on a content in Hindi or English or mathematics or sciences, which is already defined very well. And we have been practicing it from last so many years. But here we have something totally different. And we are trying to assess a child's ability on an open-ended question which might turn up in the class. And then the child is trying to produce a solution on that. And then a teacher will have to judge whether the solution is right or not. So that's where your entire well-being of the teacher and student interaction comes into play, and how you are going to use the processes which are defined in the design thinking manuals that we are sharing with you. I'm just going to share with you a quick understanding of how we do the assessment of a toy design. Supposing there is a question that is given to the children, and the question is this, that let us make a toy that can be used to learn or teach a concept. Now, this question which I'm sharing with you, it can be done by teachers also. It can be done by students also. Now, the question has a very specific requirement. Make a toy that can be used to learn or teach a concept, giving its user a rich experience of the concept, and it should be demonstrable. Now, if this is the question that goes to the children or the teacher, and then they are given certain requirements, whichever is there, then how do the people do it? Now, while you would have given this question, you generally would ask a group of children in front of you to come together, and that group of children who are coming together, or group of teachers also it can be, and then make that group with certain equipments which are available locally inside the class only. You don't have to get very high funder things for them to be given out to them, so that they can make something which is to be used for teaching and learning. Anything that is available in the class, and many a times when we do our actual physical workshops, we bring certain things like pen, pencil, duster, papers, newspapers, certain rubber bands. All these things can be put into the class, and these are generally considered as waste materials at times when they are used off. And then those things can be divided amongst the children. And then using those things, the children can make something which can be used to teach a concept. Or a teacher can make something which can be used to teach a concept. Now, supposing this is an activity given to a group, and the group is trying to do this activity. So how you will then assess this group? What is going to happen after that? So it is interesting that the teacher or the student who is participating in this exercise should understand that they have to finally explain also and demonstrate. And the experience of demonstration should be similar for the people who are using it or activated by the whole thing. Now, we can tell them that, okay, you have 15 minutes and you can kind of come back to it. But before we give them 15 minutes, we should ask them to have a look at the assessment rubric that we provide. Because I think before we assign a task, we should definitely tell the children how will they be assessed. So as teachers, you will have to read this particular rubric along with the children. When you read this rubric along with the children, say whether the child will be given a person who is a beginner or who is developing, a person who is promising, and a person who is proficient, or a person who is excellent into the work. So these 5 categories can be assigned while we are assessing the children. So the first concept that we may try to assess is toy that is there, which the children or the teachers are making. How is it going to teach them to learn a concept? So the learning objective of the concept is met or not, that has to be seen. If it is not met, any learning objective, then we would say that the person is a beginner. And if the learning objective is met to some extent, then we will say that the person is a developing person in this particular process, because they have done to some extent. Now, similarly, if the person is meeting the learning objectives to a moderate extent, then the person is said to be promising. And if the person has done the learning objectives to a fair bit of extent, then the person is said to be proficient. And if the learning objective has been met completely, means the concept of the toy that was trying to explain a particular learning concept, it has been completely met, then the person is said to be in an excellent category. Now, what generally happens is that the people find it difficult to understand what is some, what is moderate, and what is fair extent, because it may differ from teacher to teacher. A teacher might think that, okay, he has reached halfway. The other teacher may think that he may have reached to some extent. So what I would like to share with you, I'll just stop this in between. There is another source also, which I just wanted to share, the other thing, and that is So I'll share with you this mind map. I hope you are able to see another mind map on the screen now. And this will explain you when we go into the details of assessment. Like if a person has made something, a toy has been made. So was the making easy of it? Or was the making complex? Or was the making highly technical? Can a small child make it? Or do you need a skilled understanding or skilled hands-on activity to make it? Or it is highly skilled oriented? So you will have to see that what was the ease of making it. So if the ease of making it is very good, that means you have to put it in the highest category. Why? Because we would like the children to make things which are easily available and the user experience finally becomes better. Sometimes the child might not be able to do it. Sometimes a young child might be highly technical and good. Then also you will have to put it in the highest category. But sometimes a child may make a very basic thing because of his or her lack of understanding or lack of technical expertise. Then you will have to come midway somewhere. Similarly, what kind of material is the child using for making that particular toy or the activity that has been assigned? Now, if the material used is easily available or locally available, or was the material specially ordered from outside? Now, if the material was specially ordered from outside, then it comes into a very technical category. Then you again will have to judge whether that can be done by everyone or not. Because we finally want that the user experience has to be more wide and it should be done by everyone. So that is why we have to see to it that the materials that the children are using to make any toy or any solving of a problem, then that material has to be somewhere available locally. So that will be an important criteria. Similarly, what is the innovation in the design that the child has brought in? Means, is it a very basic and a simple design? Or is it a slightly complex design? Or given that this design can be done only by a highly competent person, a person who has done this work for a very long time, then only those people can do it. So is it in under that category? So you will have to again judge on those bases. And is the concept of learning objective being met by that? So is the concept very highly technical or scientific concept, or is the concept simple and is being very clearly outlined by the toy or the experiment that is being done by a teacher or a child? Or is the concept vague? Means the child may make a toy thinking that this particular toy is explaining this concept, but actually the concept may be coming out very vaguely through that toy. And the child may be thinking that this is coming out. So you will have to use that particular aspect for the judgment, and that will define the difference between the fair, moderate, and excellent. So these subparts, as a teacher, you will have to understand where you will put all these things. The experience concept, the end user who is experiencing. Now, if I make a small toy and I am the only one who can use it because it is highly technical, and I have to practice a lot to make it work, now that toy is not a major useful thing. But if the toy is made in such a manner that it actually conveys the scientific idea, and it is also not very difficult to use. In fact, it is very user friendly. And the user who is actually putting it into practice is going through the same experience. It should not happen that the user experience continues to change. Like from different users, each user may have a different experience of it. No, that should not be subjective to the user. The toy has to be such that it has to be giving the user the similar experience. So the designing of that has to be done like that. So while we are judging, we will have to keep all these things in mind. And of course, in the later stages, you can also have some business objectives. Now, business objective means the demonstration. When the person who has made a toy, is that person able to convey the idea with some degree of confidence and clarity? Sometimes we may make something, but we may not be able to convey it to the other person, and the other person may just feel whatever it is. They may not understand what is that. So this is a business objective. So the children should be able to demonstrate and convey the idea which is being conveyed through that particular toy. So this mind map clubbed along with this rubric, which I'm sharing with you right now. So these two rubrics, this rubric and the mind map, has to be seen in totality. And that will make clarity to you that how you will give a particular rating to a particular project that comes in front of you, or an exercise that you have given to the children. Now, it is not necessary that it has to be a toy exercise. It can be anything. It can be anything. Means you can do any project with them, any other design thinking. There are various projects which are defined in the design thinking manuals. And you will see that most of these projects have a rubric with them. And these rubrics are always designed in such a manner that they are clearly outlining what are the marks that can be given out to the children. But when we give the marks to the children, the only thing that we have to do is be clear at our level first, that what is it that we want and where are we going to place things. So begin with end in mind. So I request all teachers to always remember this thing, that you will have to begin with the end in mind, like the demonstration of the toy. The toy doesn't work. Some people will make a toy and the toy might not work at all. Whereas the demonstration works may have some errors at times. Some of the toys may have few errors. Some of the toys may have negligible errors. Some may just work perfectly as if they were made for it. So you will have to then give an assessment to the child, or in this particular grid, a mark. Now, my request is that when you do this, make parents also aware of it. You can actually give parents clarity. So before you give the entire exercise for the children to do, make sure that this particular assessment sheet is given out to the children, read with them very clearly before they start the work. So they must be clear on the assessment criteria before they start the work. It should not happen that you give the work, they are not aware of the assessment criteria, and then when they come, you start judging them. That's completely unethical. So it is extremely important that we judge the children only on the criteria that has been assigned to them. So this is how I think the judgment can be done. So I hope it was clear to all of you.
Nice. Bye, Shri.
Okay, so I hope that the assessment criteria is clear to you, and similar rubrics are available in the books of design thinking. So go through those rubrics. Whenever you are executing design thinking and innovation with the children, be clear what is the final end goal and how the assessment will be done. Please initiate this as a part of the school report card. Because in the report cards, what happens is, if you notice, the report cards are only talking about marks at times. They may not be talking about 21st century skills. Is our report card talking about the critical thinking skill of the child? Is our report card talking about the problem solving skill of the child? It does not talk that way. We may be doing something in mathematics or science which may be leading to problem solving skills, but technically we are not writing in the report card anywhere what is the problem solving skill of the child. Now, all these skills can be very easily addressed with these rubrics, and try explaining it to the children these rubrics before you actually execute this entire program. So that's the only thing which I had to request all of you. It's an interesting procedure. You can do whenever you have free time with the children and teachers. Though for grade 6 to 8, it is an 18-hour content. Most of the things are done at home for 6 hours, and 12 hours things are done in school. Now, there is a gradual upgradation in the questioning skills that are being asked. So initially it can be only designing a toy, but gradually their children are asked to observe around the school. Is there a problem that they see? And if there is a problem, can they frame the problem question properly? Now, I cannot, supposing you as a teacher, you are telling your children to tell what is the problem that you see around the school, which you think can be resolved with some effort. So then it should not happen that the children come and talk about vague problems. They have to come and talk very specific. Supposing they are talking about cleanliness issue. Now, cleanliness issue, where, when, is it a time-bound thing? And if it happens, supposing it happens after break, then we will have to tell them that what are those cleanliness issues and how we need to resolve them. So then the children can be actually doing a project based on that. So when the children do a project based on that, then the assessment has to be on those particular parameters. So issues that are resolved by the children in and around school, they can be looked after. Like later in the process, you can ask them any problem which happens around outside the school. Sometimes it can be to the marketplace. And then slowly from within the classroom, you move out to the school, then you move out to the society, and then you teach children that whatever is a problem around us, we are the best people who can solve it, and we should not be waiting for someone else to resolve it. And that is likely to bring a big societal change in the future. If we start now, it can actually lead to that. So I see design thinking as an amazing subject which can actually lead to a major change in the society. And also, as we are now looking at entrepreneurs, an entrepreneur is no one but a design thinker and a person who can actually do innovation. So these are the things which will be critical. So design thinking is a process of thinking, which is to be taught. And that will help children in many ways. So that's all I had to say. In case you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. And also one of the important points that you raised about assessment, that students need to be aware about those assessment parameters right from the beginning. Yes, that's a very, very important point. And every time, sir, I listen to all of you, sir, I also get to learn a lot of things. Because so when the teachers ask us the questions, it is easy for us also to address those questions that we receive on day-to-day basis. So thank you, sir. So we will take the questions now. And just before moving on to the questions, let me tell you, we also have with us Dr. Ellen Govan Kariappan. He is Assistant Innovation Director at Innovation Cell, and he's heading the school innovation related initiatives at the Innovation Cell. So welcome, sir. Do you want to say a few words, sir? Okay, so maybe we will connect with him later on. So in case, we will now take the questions. You can use a raise hand option so that we can start calling the names one by one. And you can also post your questions in the chat box, and we can take from there also. So let me first invite Susan Mark. Ma'am, please go. Gulin Kaur, ma'am, do you have any question?
Pooja, you can ask them to put it on the chat, you know.
Okay. Yes. So,
So there is someone called Sparsh and someone Rajkishore Agarwal. They want to ask some questions.
Hello.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, please go ahead.
Rajkishore Agrawal is a said, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. And my question is that suppose a teacher is teaching only 11th and 12th grade, like the commerce teacher, especially like me, we had hardly interaction with 9th, 10th or lower grade students. So is it comfortable for us as well if we will just take the 11th and 12th class material and start communicated with them? Or we have to
Yes.
go in the 6 onwards?
See, ideally, if I have to do that, what I would do is I'll try to do it from 6th onwards. But supposing I'm initiating right now, and there are children already in 11th, now I can't let them go to 6th. And if they don't have design thinking as a subject, and as a accounts teacher or a business studies teacher or an economics teacher, I need to initiate the process of design thinking with them, because I feel that for their entrepreneurship skills, they will definitely need this process of thinking. Then I can pick up some content of grade 6 itself and take it in my class, and then do this as an exercise, because I might not be, because we have a complete 200 hours curriculum for grade 11. Now, that can be as a standalone subject. But if that subject is not being offered in your school, and you want that the skill is very important, then you can pick up anything from 6th, 7th or 8th, whichever suits you. See that which is the best one that suits those children. I would advise, don't pick up 6th, pick up 7th or 8th, and then go with the whole process. And I think it's a very good life skill to be given out to the children. That way I would deal it if I was you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your question. I would request Akansha Singh, ma'am, to please ask the question. Please introduce yourself first and then go ahead with the question.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Akanksha Singh, and I'm from Jaipur, from the Palace School. So, sir, I wanted to know, like, class 6, 7th, 8th curriculum is framed as such, where class 6, whatever the student is studying in class 6, and when he goes in class 7, so the child has to choose
It's
the
of
very.
2 hours.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please
Yeah.
continue.
So the child has to choose design thinking only as a subject. Like once the child chooses in class 6, is it mandatory for him or her to choose in class 7 as well? Because like we are offering two skill subjects currently. So half knowledge will be given, and what if the child doesn't find it interesting, and then in class 7 the child tends to switch to another skill subject. So is it advisable?
Let me answer this. Class 6, 7th, 8th, if the child is interested in continuing with the same subject, he likes it so much, then he can do it in class 6, 7th, 8th. But they are independent of each other. So that means the child can take the DTI course either in 6th or in 7th or 8th. To answer your question, if he takes in 6th and he wants to do another subject in 7th and another subject in 8th, they're free to do that. Yeah, so the class 6, 7th, 8th, all of them are exposure modules. That means it's a very good introduction to design thinking. And you can do it in one standard, either in 6th, 7th, or 8th. But let's say the child gets so interested in this particular subject then the tasks are different and the complexities are also a little different.
Exactly.
So then he can continue in all the classes. So it's planned like that.
Okay, and as similar, like you told to sir, like if they want to introduce in 11, they can. So suddenly, if there comes a child in class 8th, and he heard a lot about design thinking from his friends, and he's like, now I want to try for the first time. So he opts for design thinking in class 8 for the first time, whereas the remaining students have already done in class 6 and 7. So how do I, matlab, for that particular few children who have opted a design thinking for the first time in class 8, how should we design or teach them? Because, majority
So, but
children have already done in class 6, 7.
no, as I
Is the
said,
recap we
right,
can give
even the
them?
class 8 is an exposure to design thinking and innovation. It's not an advanced course. Okay. So he can begin in 8. He can also begin in 7th or begin in 6th. They're independent of each other, but if somebody is really interested, then they can do it in class 6, 7th, and 8th. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, because
Yes.
they're all, if you look at it, it's just 12 hours in the school timings and 6 hours at home. They're very short module, which is meant to expose the students to this particular subject.
Okay, sir.
Whereas if
Is it
from
advisable
class 9
to...
onwards, it's almost 160 hours. So it's quite a lot of, content in that. Okay. And
Yeah.
as
So,
somebody else said, if
Ravi
somebody
sir,
comes, yeah, go ahead, please, Hairsh.
if I can say this to Akanksha, imagine like this, that the theory in 3 classes is same, only the end point, the questions are different. Like if you have the same theory, but you have different questions. So what happens is that the child 6 may have the same thing, but then the problems that are given in 6th are different from the problems which are given in 7th with the problems which are given in 8th. So the child in 8th will also be able to understand. And supposing a child who has already done in 6 will not get bored because the problems which he will or she will see in 8th will be different.
Yes.
Okay, so newness will be there for the child who is already exposed, and the child who is doing it for the first time will have a similar experience.
Okay, sir. So one last thing, like, is it advisable to divide the classes? Just say it's a 12-hour to be done in school. So it's upon us. We can do it in 1 month. We can do it we can divide. But if we stretch it for like, say, 4, 5 months in one class, 1 week, is it advisable, or we should do it like in 1 month or 1 week's time?
When I practiced it in the school, I realized that a 40-minute class does not work. It's a good thing that if you actually have 2-hour class or a slightly longer period, that will help you better, because otherwise what happens is the kind of activities that are being done and the kind of collaboration that happens in it, it requires some time. So you may have different time spans between 2 classes. You may take a longer period, but the class itself should be slightly longer. Means I would say not less than 1 hour or 90 minutes should be there. Ideally it should be 2 hours.
Okay, sir.
Am I right,
Thank
Ravi sir?
Yeah, perfectly. And also you could do it on Saturdays. That's what many schools are doing it. They take, 4 Saturdays with, 6 Saturdays with 2 hours each. You'd be able to cover the content.
Sir, may I, though I am a participant, but may I suggest something here for the implementation part? Because I am also a headmistress of junior section, like up to 8th middle section in Birla Public School, Pilani. Actually, we can go with the weekly sessions, or we can celebrate a designing week with our students, so that they will be in that the schedule classes will be there, and they will be in that designing part for a week, and definitely it will help them, because if continuous we will teach them continuously in for 6 days, it will help them to think about that, and they will be more involved in that. if we will take it fortnightly, there will be a long gap in the classes, and somewhere the children don't take it in that way. So if we will go with 1 week dedicated for the designing, so definitely it will help them. They will be more involved in the activities. Apart from that, I just want to include one more thing. Like instead of going like that ma'am was saying, if the child is opting it in class 8, then what will happen with the previous classes curriculum or the things which he had to study? In that case, instead of going with classes for class 6, 7th, 8th students,
I think Neelu, yes, please close your.
Fine. Meenakshi, you were quite pertinent and on the spot about explaining what you did. Do you have something to add more, or you're done? Hello.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
Please.
yes, sir. Sorry, I didn't find that I got unmuted. Sir, I was saying that instead of going with the classes for class 6th, 7th, and 8th, for 8th class student, those who have joined this curriculum in 8th standard, we can go with the batches, beginners batch, developers batch. In this way, we can divide it, and we can give them that example which we have already taken in class 6, the other students have done. So instead of going with class particular, we can go with a beginners batch or developers batch. In that way, we can go with.
Okay, thank you. Suresh, sir, you were trying to say something.
Yeah, sir, thank you. Thank you for the panel, and thank you, the Ministry of Education, for initiating this interaction with the teachers. I have been acquainting myself with the thoughts and the points that we have shared here, and it's really a beautiful thought. A lot of insights, I think, went into this. A lot of life and gist of life, I think, went into this. But I have a doubt, because I'm representing, as the principal of Bharati Vidyavan Abu Dhabi, representing the voice of the Middle East. So in the Middle East, the total number of working days, the maximum number of working days that you get will be less than 185. But CBSE core curriculum, if you just go through, it's all more than 210 to 240 number of working days. Of this 185 days, we have to think of also the days for assessment and examinations as well. So altogether, it becomes a really compact academic life for a child. It is in between that we think of all these skill subjects. Though I appreciated this, instead of introducing this as a well-defined, well-structured curriculum, why can't we consider this as an approach to the core subjects? For example, it's a problem. Writing a question answer to a question itself is a problem, right? So preparing yourself for a public speech is a problem. There also, why can't we adopt the technique that you have introduced here as an approach and integrate the idea with the core subjects, the transaction of the subject, so that a skill is developed and teaching also is completed? That's my question.
Yeah, Hairsh, do you want to answer this? Yeah, Rupa?
I would like to answer that, yes.
Yeah, Rupa, go ahead, please.
So thank you for asking that, because we are already looking at, for the lower classes, we are looking at integrating it with the subjects for the primary section. Am I right, Professor Poovaiah? That when we do for the lower classes, we will look at it having come with the subjects integrated there. So that is a very relevant question, or a relevant point which has come forth. Secondly, when we do this design thinking, we are not only doing it separately, but you can also do it with your subject. Today, of course, I didn't get that opportunity to show you how we do it in our school, but I do show it in many of the workshops that I do, that how we are doing it. Let's say we are doing heat as a subject in science. We show how we use heat and electricity in these topics, how we integrate design thinking.
So it is up to you to use these innovative methods in class. And if you reach out, I think it was Mr. Suresh, I can share with you how we do it in our school.
Yeah, just to add to this, we are working on actually integrating design thinking into the foundation years and the primary schools. And also we'll come out with a guideline for integrating it to other subjects at the higher levels. So because we are concentrating on the skill module, we've not yet come out with that, but I'm sure in another 6 months, we'll have those guidelines also. And we'll also conduct some workshops with regard to this, how you can actually adopt design thinking into, learning of other subjects. Yes, that's
So,
actually part of our mandate.
so Suresh sir, we at Qatar also face the similar issue of 185 days altogether. And there are mandatory times when we have to close the school, and there are mandatory working hours also, and all those things are there. So constraints will always be there. So what I did here was that some of the Saturdays, like we have some Saturdays, the alternate Saturdays are working. For grades 9 and above, and we have taken some special permissions and requested if we can be allowed for the board children and all those things. So that helped us in some ways getting some extra time. So then we placed up those things on those. The second thing we also did was that sometimes we asked the children to stay back for activities in the school for an extra 1.5 hours. So when the children stay back for the activities, we do include this at that time also. So this helps them in either that is the time from where we get it, or on Saturdays we get it. So it depends upon how we want to prioritize the things. I understand that everything is a top priority for a principal at times, because there are a lot of forces which will stress you in multiple directions. But then see, I have a personal belief that the process that is being taught through this subject is very, very critical. Design thinking is a process which actually tells children how to critically analyze around them whatever they see and observe, and then lead these initial thoughts into a problem solving thing, so that you are able to overcome the problem and also look at various types of solutions, and then check up which one is the best solution, and then go into a PDCA cycle. So the whole process is a very important thing. I think it is one of the most critical skills in life which can be used. Therefore, I have a feeling that apart from anything else that we are doing, weigh these things, that which one will be the most useful thing for a child in life. Will it be important for a child to know all the trigonometric formulas, or will it be important for a child to know how to solve a problem in life and get an understanding of the process of thinking? So that's the question which I weigh finally, and then come to a conclusion, what will I give a priority? Okay, that's how I think it helped me. Thank you.
So I have a question, if I may.
Yes, please.
So my question is related to what you have just now said. And sir, like Ravi sir just now pointed out, that working on this module as a skill subject. Now, like we have about 13 skill subjects in our school running as of now for 11th and 12th. But they all are formally graded and assessed for, and have the ability to substitute the as a best 5 for these children. So like until unless we have either a formalization on the assessment which can help these children understand the importance, I completely understand that these skills are very, very important. But still, for a child to understand it, how it can help him, if there is a way we can formalize these assessments in the pattern of CBSE mark system, like we all know for the others, or if we can have some kind of a acknowledgement in a form of a certification or anywhere where these people know that they are being acknowledged for having learned these skills. Because even if we look at the scenario now, sir, only a very couple of institutes in India right now, as I was looking, have this design innovation program and strategy management in India, even in the business management. So if the class 12 student is wanting to pass out with something like this, which is so interesting and needed in this hour, if it can be of help to him when he's seeking a career option later on in this particular field, then it would be really helpful. So would there be anything which we would be looking for in future in this aspect?
Prerna, there are two things I would like to answer. One is that because of the new education policy, which is the National Education Policy 2020, there are things which have started moving. So I know there is a committee of CBSE which is called as No Hard Separations, which is looking into advising NCRT and other ministry people who are trying to do what should be done from grade 9 to 12 and how the semester system should be broken and what are the subject options that would be given there. So I will
Yes, sir.
not be able to disclose all those things here, but I would just tell you that the framework has already started rolling. And I think in some time, you will start seeing that the things are likely to change, where the children will have options to pick up things from various subjects. And they will have more choices, and there will be an option from skills also, which will be compulsorily to be done. So that will also start coming in. So this is one aspect. Rupa ma'am will be able to elaborate on it further. But the second aspect which I wanted to tell you was that when you run into this kind of programs and you try to tell children that this is a design thinking and innovation curriculum, please understand the latest development that has been there at the college and the university level. I think there are very few subjects which connect the school and the universities, colleges. Because I remember a few months back, I was told that design thinking and innovation is one of the subjects which has become almost compulsory at the college level also. Am I right, Ravi sir? Because this is now which
Getting
is going to
implemented.
happen.
Yeah.
So
IITs have implemented. Yeah. Others are implementing it now. Yeah. That's
so
true.
this is one of the subjects which will lead the child from the school to the college. So this is going to be a very important subject. So keep that in mind, whatever you're offering. So Rupa ma'am, you can please add on to it.
Thank you, sir. I would like to add over here very, very important thing that is being talked about right now, and that's the credit system. So in the credit system, since I'm in that committee also, I would like to bring to your notice 30 credits are for your pedantic subjects, right? 10 are for various other things that you are doing. Now the credit system also includes your design thinking, and the continuity or carrying forward your credit to college is one of not the options, but a mandatory aspect. So please remember this. This is going to be implemented soon, not 2023, but it's going to be implemented from, I think, 2024. Please keep this in mind. Under those 10 credits, you are going to have a lot of things, including design thinking. Because one thing, whether you have learned anything else or not, design thinking or problem solving with an innovative, creative, critical mind is a way of moving ahead in this world where your job profile, nobody knows what's going to be. Look at ChatGPT. Did anybody know ChatGPT even a few months back? And today you have the fourth version of ChatGPT. Microsoft has taken over ChatGPT, bought it over. Where are we heading to? So one thing we must all remember, that design thinking has come in now to stay. And this is the only thing, the critical thinking, the creative thinking, your innovation, your communication are never going to go out of fashion. Every other subject may, but these will not. So let's keep the 21st century skills, keeping in mind what are job profiles for tomorrow, and build our skills
rather than our subjects is something, and I endorse what Mr. Sanduja was saying. Thank you, sir.
Just to add on to what Rupa ma'am and Hairsh sir said, design itself is becoming a very viable profession. If, there were just hardly 10 schools in the 90s and 2000s. Now there are almost 500 higher institutes offering this skill set. It opens the door to the creative industries. So that itself is a very big opening if somebody is interested in design, which option you didn't have 10 years back. Yeah, it's just to add on to.
So thank you so much. Actually, I just wanted to say this point because my school already there are a couple of students who have passed out class 12 and they are wanting to look in for design thinking innovation strategy in their business management programs for the BBA. So hence I wanted to know for the children who are now going to come in 11th and 12th that if there would be any credit system which we can offer them, because since it's an optional, some might offer, some might go on for it and some might not. So how would we differentiate if the report card of the school is also not showing it? So
Prerna, wait
my
for
question.
CBSE to come with a circular regarding this. Wait for
Okay,
CBSE
sir.
to come with this. But at the school level, if you want to do anything, please go ahead and do it. But the semester system and the other things, as per the NEP, I think you will have to
Yes.
wait for the CBSE circulars.
Right, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. And ma'am, this is Hairsh this side from Indrapuram Public School. I have a query, sir. Can I put forward, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Sir, actually, I just wanted to know, like in other vocational subjects, for completion of hours, students undergo some sort of online hours that they have to devote. So, is it validated from 9th onwards for design and thinking also, or they just have to concentrate on the project work and the prototype is mandatory for that? I just wanted to know that 9th and above, sir. Thank you.
Ravi sir, you would like to answer this?
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
So what has happened is there are very specific tasks defined in the grade 9 books and grade 10 books of the design thinking and innovation. So as per those tasks which are defined, the outcome has to be done. Now, if the outcome requires a prototype of it, whatever has been done, then it is a mandatory thing. It can't be a thought type experiment or a theoretical thing. It has to be done that way. Then only the task will happen. And frankly speaking, we have to be very careful about this whole thing, because in other subjects there are tutorials which are available and all those things. This will be a new subject of thinking, so there will be definitely the child's complete dependence on the instructions given in the manuals that we have. So try not to see to it that there is academic honesty maintained in this whole process. There should not be anything which should be done which is not defined there, or ethically which is not there. Because I know there will be people who may, once this course gets launched properly and it becomes the talk of the town, you will have people opening up shops who may kind of give you ready-made projects there. You never know. This can happen. And if we as educationists are careful about it, it will not go that way. But follow the instructions given in the manual to the T. And I strongly believe that whenever the children do anything, don't wait for the final end to be brought to you. Keep in touch with the children during the process when they are making things, so that at all the stages you can ask right questions and guide them also further. That is a interesting proposition. Otherwise, it is very likely that you may have given some instructions and something else may come out to you as a final product. And then you may think that there was some error in this whole process. So be careful about it.
Thank you, sir. I totally got the idea, but I just also wanted to know, are there any online working hours that students have to go through for this module, or they have to focus on these five pillars of the design thinking? And the process, like for ninth, it is base disposable system, that the project that has been recommended.
Once you complete your lunch, sit and resign.
Sorry.
Okay, they
Sorry, I could not get it, what you were saying.
You have to revise the
So there is some other. So I just wanted to know that is there any are there any online hours that students have to focus on, or they have to just go through these basic five pillars of design thinking? Like for class 9, they have a waste disposable system that has been recommended as a project that they will initiate. So they have to focus on the building of these five pillars, or any online working hours also they have to online training also they have to go
Yeah,
through.
maybe I'll answer this. They have to spend 1/3 of the time at home, okay, working on the subject. Okay, so we have actually defined what components of the problem solving that they can actually do it at home. And we've also given reference material, which, the intention is that they actually observe and gather information on their own. That's an ability the students need to have, being able to collate information and make meaning out of it. It's a very important component of that. So every subject, every problem solving will have to have this part of it. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Anji, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Gurleen Kaur from Police State Public School, Ludhiana. Sir, my question is this: what kind of a subject teacher can teach this subject? But which subject is helpful actually by this subject?
We have frankly kept it open to any teacher who's interested in this particular aspect of design and innovation, And in fact, if you go through the Design Innovation Ambassador program, it kind of, sets the tone for you to take up this subject. Okay, and the rest of it is really something that you can actually build up your skill sets with the teacher's manual. Okay, and that's how we see it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So there is one more query from my side. I'm an entrepreneurship taking 11th and 12th classes. So if we make this mandatory for the science students, generally they are into competitive mode. So maybe they will not be interested. So in that case, can it be made an optional subject like for science students?
It is an optional skill subject. It is not a mandatory subject. Hairsh or Rupa?
Yes. It is
so
an
mostly
option.
maybe the humanities and the commerce students may opt for it.
Ma'am, it's a skill subject. You can actually offer it to anyone. It's not necessarily humanities. It can be science children also, and it can be done that way. So don't look at it because as I said earlier, that we are trying to teach a process of thinking, and which is essentially critical thinking and problem solving. So I do not see children being segregated into humanities, commerce, or science for understanding this life skill of critical thinking and problem solving. I think it is required by all.
That's
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Good morning. This is Varsha from Birla Public School, Pilani. Just wanted to ask you one thing that we are a school which is a residential school, and I know that children are here for 24/7, but as you say that the children should work in the houses as well. So how do you actually think of implementing it into the residential schools?
So in residential schools, you would be having the children going back to the dorms or the dormitories or into their hostels, and they would be having Saturdays or Sundays at their disposal. And I know there would be, because I have worked in a residential school, so I know There are times when you get a housemaster or someone assigned to them for any of the
Yeah,
activities which are apart from the academic activities at times that you may think of. So in 6, 7, and 8, you can actually initiate it during that time, whatever you may be calling it as a homeroom or any other time that you may be calling. The only difference here that is that there the child would have gotten things from home to get it done, whereas here you will have to give certain infrastructural help or some
yeah.
support in terms of equipments to the child at the dormitories where they can work amongst themselves in groups and all.
So this,
So that can be
sorry
still
to
achieved.
interfere. Sorry to interfere. This means that we need to allow them with their devices and the internet connection, and also that they can do the research, thinking, and like researching and working on the things.
That I believe would already be assigned to the children, because the internet connectivity times generally in the residential schools are assigned to the children, that each child will get from this point to this point to do research or to do any talk with the parents and
No,
all those
actually,
things.
in some of the schools, still the internet is not available to the kids during when they are in their houses or dormitories. So I think, yeah, we will work on it. I just wanted
So,
to clarify it here because,
Yeah.
you
Actually,
yeah.
know,
yeah. Just to add, equipments are not very essential. It's mainly to do with observation, working on their own. It's actually documenting things, sketching things, these kind of things, right? Yeah. So it's an addition to the problem that they are already solving. They complete a presentation, things like that. So the home hours are used for that kind of activities.
and
So I
how
think
do you think?
being in a
Sorry.
residential place will be actually advantageous.
Yeah, and how do you think, integrating it with the other subjects, like, it can be interdisciplinary as well. So like lots of people and the teachers can be, that's a suggestion, can be included in, and they can collaborate and work together, which is another, aspect of NEP.
Varsha,
So
that is your design thinking.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I do understand. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Pooja.
So I can see other people also have raised hands. Simiji.
I've already raised my query. Thank you.
Okay. Lalit Mohan Sahu, sir, do you have any question?
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Oh, sir, good afternoon, sir. Actually, my query is how to go about to implement this skill throughout year. Can you please guide, sir, on month-wise, or how we should go about? Like how much portion we have to complete and total means for year-long plan. Could you please provide so that we can proceed, sir?
Harish,
I
again, over
think,
to you.
yeah.
So this is not a year-long thing. Please understand it. For 6, 7, and 8, it is an 18-hour curriculum, out of which 6 hours is to be done at home. Or if the children are in residential setup, then it has to be done in a dormitory or a homeroom time. And 12 hours is a guidance that is given by this school. So you will have to get it done within that stipulated time. It is not a year long going thing. You can actually pick up a month or two in the year and put it up in your calendar that in these 2 months you will try to do it. See which are the 2 months comfortable as per your school's annual timetable and your school's annual plan that you have. And then fit it in those 2 months. Don't spread it for the whole year. Because if you spread 18 hours for the whole year, then from one class to another class, children would have forgotten whatever happened. So within 2 months, try to complete this. Spread it out, maybe successive Saturdays or some other days if you have any other stay back time. Then follow the instructions as per the manual. Okay. And in the end, please put on an assessment and discuss the assessment with the children in advance. Inform it to the parents also, and do the final end with the report card also. So that everything gets documented. So the documentation is an essential thing, not only to be learnt by children, but also as a school we should learn how to document it, so that when it gets properly documented, it gets done also properly. And the student assessment is a very critical part in this. I hope I am clear. Lalit.
There's a question saying, will it be implemented in the upcoming academic year? I think 600 or 500 schools have already done it. 30,000 students have already taken the DTI at class 6.
Yes. So, sir, just one question from my end. This time for this academic year, there are many schools which have nominated teachers for class 9 onwards as well. So, what is and for 9 onward, there are like more than 160 hours. It's, I think, around 167 hours, and it's a semester based. So it is supposed to be divided into 2 semesters. So how do they distribute the hours for these classes? For example, if for class 6 to 8, we are saying that minimum 2 hours for one class, and then they can, plan any 6 classes. With that, they can easily cover the the 12 hours that we are recommending under the course. So same way, how to go with the 9 onwards.
So 9 onwards, it will automatically become as a part of normal schooling, and it will be timetabled weekly. So see how you are timetabling it weekly, and the content is accordingly done. So the assessments rubrics are also defined there in that. So you can check up with the assessment rubrics. Soon we will be releasing the set of end term assessment, if it has to be done in terms of end term assessment, how it has to be done. So because finally the children will also be going to grade 10 using the same skill subject. So how will the grade 10 will be having an assessment there? So that we will be releasing the details. The CBSE will be releasing.
And one question which I think Ravi sir had earlier addressed, in case of class 6 to 8, like a student can either choose 6, 7, or 8, or they can continue after doing it in 6, they can continue it till 8th class, because more or less the curriculum framework is similar. The exercises and activities are going to be different. So is it the same case for class 9 onwards as well?
No, they're different from class 9 onwards. It's quite different. Yeah, so it's not the same thing. But preferably, it's good to join the program either at class 9, and if they miss and they get interested in class 11. But as Hairsh sir just said, those students should at least get a little bit introduction of what happens in class 6, 7th, or 8th, I think the newcomers should have an additional 18 hours given to them, so they get into the mode of design thinking and innovation. The basics are covered.
Yes. Yeah, so that's going to be a very, very important point for all the schools which are nominating and starting this design thinking curriculum from like class 9 or class 11 onwards, because there are many. This is released last year only, so most of the schools are doing it. All the schools, in fact, are doing it first time. Okay, so is there any other question from anyone?
I think we are done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I am very, very thankful to Professor Ravi Poovaiah, sir, Hairsh sir, Rupa, Chakraborty ma'am, for their time and giving their expertise to all the schools. And it's always amazing to listen to the deep knowledge that you have in this field. And it was really a very, very wonderful session today, sir. And thanks to all the teachers and school educators who have joined us for this session today. At Innovation Cell, we have regional coordinators. We will be addressing, if there is any other question, you can always write it to us. And we will also be doing multiple sessions on design thinking and innovation in next coming weeks and months as well. So stay in touch. And once again, thank you, everyone.
I have a small question. Can I ask? Hello,
Okay,
am I
sir.
audible?
Please go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Uh, Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I want to discuss about only one question. If already some teachers discuss about that we already have 40 minutes period in our schools. So can we replace some activities from our side to doing in 40 minutes? Like that, there is an activity in making puppet.
Sir, experts have already clarified during the session that minimum 2 hours they suggest should be there for one class, so that in fact this will be more clear to you, sir, if you go through the course material. So once you go through the course material and just check the structure of each of the module, you will gain more clarity why the experts are recommending minimum 2 hours for one course.
I'm talking
For
about the
one class.
curriculum details. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Talking about the curriculum details of class 9th and 10th. When I went through the curriculum, it was more about photography and lines and contours and color hypothesis and all those things. So I don't think that the set of teachers, only the art teachers can justify to that particular part. I'm not going to the other part of it where the process is involved. So can you clarify on that? I mean, which
Yeah,
set of
so
teachers can teach that?
yeah, so any teacher can do it. It is not the art of photography. It is photography used for documentation. Okay, please look at this. When you say sketching, it is used for ideation. Okay, so there is no big skill set which is needed by the teacher to understand this. You know, yeah, it's just to tell that you can use photography for documenting something. If there's a problem or an issue, you take your camera and you make photograph of that, and that photograph is used for analysis. It is not to make somebody into a photographer. Okay, but it can also create an interest in photography. That's a secondary matter. Okay, that's why we are saying that normal teachers can actually teach this subject. The teacher doesn't have to be a good photographer. Nowhere in the curriculum, if you look at it, photography as a skill is defined.
Okay,
Does that, yeah, it is something that you can do it.
May I add to this, please?
Yeah.
I wanted to add over here that you may have seen photography, you may have seen the lines to be drawn for drawing. Those are all, remember, creative thinking skills, right? There is also story creation. That's another way of critical thinking and creative thinking. So you will find a lot of amalgamation of processes, procedures, which help you get into that channel of creative thinking, critical thinking. And we are using these, and Professor Poovaiah will endorse it definitely because he's part of this, that this is how we need to think. We are so much in compartments or isolation when we teach a subject. We need to get out of this and understand integrated subject teaching. Like Hairsh Sanduja said, that it is about no separation is what CBC is talking about among subjects. So please keep it in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sir,
I
good
think we'll
afternoon.
call it a day. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
if there is any question left and unaddressed, please post it to us, and we will
Pooja, ma'am.
take it in the next session.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I
Thank
have
you,
a question,
everyone.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining the session.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll close the meeting.